APC has fruits, and that's why they will keep throwing muds and mudslings at us, because we're a party in power. A tree that has no fruits, nobody throws slings and stones at it. The glory of God have been elected for a second tenure is to begin to implement strategic initiatives that would ensure that we can mobilize and engage young people, in particular at the grassroots. In terms of political appointment, there are more women who are leading agencies in Nigeria today, from Niger Delta Power Holding Company to PEBEC to a lot of other agencies.
This Monday on Your View, Honorable Dayo Isreal, National Youth Leader of the All Progressive Congress, joins us live from Abuja to discuss the just concluded APC convention. We'll explore key outcomes, youth participation, party strategies, and what this means for the APC's chances in the 2027 general election. Join the conversation and call us on 09024163440 or tweet us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewTVC. So, Honorable, are you there?
Now, how are you? Good morning.
We're doing amazing. So, tell us, how was the convention? How did it go? Did it go smoothly?
It was a great convention. It was beautiful. It was successful. It was, I think it was the best convention the party has ever held in a long time. I think it was, it showed the unity of the party. It showed our organizational capabilities. It showed our preparedness for the coming election. And it showed that we're a party of class. And you can compare our convention to what happened yesterday, also in Abuja. Our convention was colorful. It was it was a good opportunity for our members to come together again and remember what it means to be a progressive. I think that convention was outstanding, and it produced a stronger NWC, and it showed the unity of our party. And we're excited. I'm also grateful to God that at that convention, I was re-elected and reaffirmed as the national youth leader of the ruling party.
Oh, congratulations, Honorable.
So what other decisions were taken at the convention besides your re-election?
And what did you say, Ajay?
What other decisions were taken at the convention aside your re-election? Congratulations.
I think it was an elective convention, so it was to elect the new leadership of the party, which is very important and significant for the direction as we go to the 2027 election. The first phase is to have an authentic leadership of the party. And with that leadership of the party, all of the other activities will now be conducted by that leadership. So except you have that leadership that has been put together at the convention, you will not be able to go into the primaries at the various level and the convention presidential primaries as well, and other party activities. And it's very important actually that this is concluded. And it didn't just happen at the convention. We started with the local government congress. We started, actually the World Congress, the local government congress. We had a successful state congress. Then we had zonal congresses in the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, where leaders emerged who are going to run the affairs of our party for the next 4 years. And as a result of that, it culminated into the National Convention in Abuja, where the members of the National Working Committee of the party, led by Professor Nentawe Yewada, the national chairman, the 2 deputy national chairmen, Alibuka Dalori and Ben Woye, and also the National Secretary, Distinguished Senator Ajibola Bashir Saudi, and my other colleagues on the NWC will begin to steer the direction for the party and lead the party into the next general election and ensure that we can return His Excellency Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Aso Rock Villa in 2027 by the grace of the Almighty.
Okay, so I'd like to know, congratulations again on your re-election as National Youth Leader, and I would like to really know what role do the young people play, or are the young people playing in the party's plan for the forthcoming election, since that's your forte?
So one of the first things that we're able to achieve with the convention was that there were more young people that were involved in the planning and participation in the convention. So that was one good thing for us as a party, that we're getting more young people to be involved in party activities. And also, I'm sure that you're aware that last year I opened the Progressive Youth House, which is the youth secretariat of the APC National Youth Wing in Wuse to Abuja. And what we have seen is more engagement of young people, in particular the fresh guys, the guys you call Gen Z, the non-political young people who have now begun to show interest. Every day I get emails, I get messages, I get conversations from people. I want to join the APC. And I thought they said that you don't like our party. But many thousands of youth are trundling into our party every month, wanting to become a member of our party, wanting to be part of the good work that the APC is doing at different levels. And so part of what we're trying to do moving forward is to begin to, now that to the glory of God I've been elected for a second tenure, is to begin to implement strategic initiatives that would ensure that we can mobilize and engage young people, in particular at the grassroots. For example, part of the project I'm unveiling is a new digitized platform called the SWIP app, SWIP. SWIP app. If you just go on your Apple Store and put SWIP APC SWIP, of course SWIP comes from our broom signal. You see our new platform, for example. It's a digitalized platform. For you to sign up, you need to use your voter's card. There's a number at the top of your voter's card, not your VIN. There's another one that says exactly what your polling units are, and it will sort you out up to your polling unit, up to your exact polling units, and then add you into a community. So if like 3 of you in the studio, for example, happen to be in the same polling unit, the number on your card for your polling unit will be the same. And as soon as you input that with your name, your email, your phone number, it sorts you into that, and you can begin to communicate with yourself. You can begin to interact with yourself. That's one of the technologies that we're introducing to engage more young people for the grassroots. Of course, by the grace of God, we're going to be unveiling Jagaban Army Movement 2.0 to ensure that we can begin to, activate the grassroots. We did a lot of work with that, canvassing the grassroots in the last election through the Jagaban Army Movement, and we're unveiling 2.0 this time around to ensure that door to door we're able to get our input to deliver their streets, deliver their wards, and deliver their local government. And that's why our digital technology platform is focused on actually getting people up to their polling unit level and sort them together to begin to canvass, because politics is local, and the goal must be, how are you going to deliver your own ward, your own polling unit, and your own street? And if all of us can deliver at our own various level, of course, it will be an easy win for the president, because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu must come back to be able to finish the work that he has started. A lot of transformation that is been able to initiate. They are daring decisions. Of course, they're not easy for the average Nigerian people, but we thank God that things are beginning to ease bit by bit. Dollars begin to stabilize. It skyrocketed initially when the subsidy was removed. A lot of things, but things are beginning to ease well. More young people are benefiting from our student loan and our nail fund. Our credit card system as well.
Okay,
to benefit
Honorable.
a lot more Nigerians.
Yeah, let's get in a few more questions.
Oh yeah. So this year, the First Lady acknowledged the fact that there were more women that showed up for the convention, but I was looking forward to seeing how if there were increase in leadership positions for the women that showed up. So would you please let us know how the presence of women at the convention has brought about more involvement of women in leadership position within APC, and what should women be expecting, young women be expecting from APC going forward in terms of participation, election opportunities, and platform?
So the party has been intentional about inclusivity, and that inclusivity is inclusivity of young people and inclusivity of women in particular. Of course, you know that the administration, for example, in our cabinet, we have been able to ensure that we have more women represented in the cabinet. But beyond that is to now see more women come into politics. Some days ago, the chairman of our party received the female deputy governors forum in Abuja during the convention, where they had come to request that we must produce some certain number of female leaders, senators, and potentially governors as well. And of course, our party, in particular, the president has a model since when he was governor in Lagos State, to ensure that when there's a male governor, there's a female deputy governor, and that has extended across many of our states of our parties. So we intend to continue to push that agenda in many of our states as well, in particular in Delta and also in Lagos, where you have most of the time when you have a male chairman of a local government, you have female chairpersons, vice chairpersons of the same local government. So we're trying to do our best to ensure that there are more women representation. In terms of political appointment, there are more women who are leading agencies in Nigeria today from Niger Delta Power Holding Company to PEBEC to a lot of other agencies, NIMC, and I can go on and on. And those platforms, in particular for political appointment and boards appointment, are giving women the requisite pedestal to be able to begin to gain political exposure and experiences that will make them ripe enough to become female governors, female one day, female president in Nigeria. And I think that it's a process, and it starts by empowerment, preparation, and building capacities. And over time, it will naturally emerge out of necessity.
Okay, thank you, Honorable.
So I would like you to respond to your position and how they've criticized your readiness for this, your party's readiness for the elections. This morning, Tokwe took a story about the ADC, using the opportunity of the president's birthday to, run criticism on the APC. How do you respond to all of these criticisms?
I would say that it's politics, and politics sometimes some of these things are fair game. We understand where they're coming from. The fact is that a tree that has no fruit, nobody throws slings and stones at it. But because APC has fruits, and that's why they will keep throwing muds and mud slings at us, because we're a party in power. We're a party of result. We're a party that is delivering. We're a party of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that is one of the most respected African leaders on the continent and on the globe today. It was just recently received by King Charles and Queen Camilla in London. It's been received in different nations from Qatar to UAE because they recognize the value that it brings, the leadership that it has brought into the Nigerian political ecosystem. And so when you have a party that is thriving, a party that is delivering value at its own level, yes, we're not ignorant of the fact that there are challenges. We're not ignorant of the fact that there are tipping points and areas that we need to improve on, and that we're working vigorously to improve on, to ensure that we can deliver better value for the Nigerian people. But knowing the value that we carry, of course opposition would do what they're doing to, and the reality is that if we're in opposition, when we're in opposition to, we'll probably do the same. But we are not distracted. We are focused to ensure that we can deliver value to Nigerian people. There has a proverb in Yoruba land. It says, "Enter Mbanoja."
Okay, translate please.
The focus of the president is how do we ensure that Nigerians can go home and sleep with their two eyes closed without thinking about insecurity, that they can have food to eat, 3 square meals. That's the priority of Mr. President. That children can go to school without having to look at how they could be faithful with their school fees. And that's why Nail Fund is there. That they can purchase things, based on their own credit rating and credit score. That's why Credit Core is there, for example. That they have access to renewable energy. That's why REA is working tirelessly. Energy Commission of Nigeria under Mustafa Abdullah is working rigorously. Niger Delta Power Holding under Jennifer is working tirelessly, to ensure that Nigerians can have
I want to
renewable
ask,
energy.
Honorable Dayo Isreal, I'd like to ask, talking about results, you mentioned that your party is a party of results. Now, can we just take a dive into sectors that you think have improved under the current administration? Can you mention sectors to us? Because before we can say the scorecard is robust, every other sector adds up to this score. So please, can you mention particularly to us the sectors you think have improved under this current administration?
So let me start from the sector that is very dear to my constituency, which is the educational sector. So, for example, we've had the shortest ASU strike in the history of Nigeria. We've had, a lot of benefits and opportunities for Nigerian students, for example. And I talked about the platform for which we now ensure that many of our young people can go to school and get quality education without thinking about money. Another thing that is of importance to our young people is resources for their businesses and their startup. So, for example, we know that Smedian has been doing a lot of work on that Charles Odi to ensure that our SMEs and our startup, and in particular the micro businesses, over 25 million of them in Nigeria, are able to access some form of capital, seed funding or the other. Of course, the medium businesses are looking for bigger money and bigger welfare. But through Smedian, the federal government and Mr. President have been pushing some little fundings into the hands of micro businesses in Nigeria to help them to be able to continue to grow. Of course, we also have things like what PCNGI is doing to ensure that you don't have to rely on petrol and diesel. You can also use CNG gases. There are more stations and the president has done a lot in terms of even ensuring that we have more CNG buses and also their installation centers across Nigeria. You know, there's also a lot more that can be done in that area and that we intend to do. There's a strong intention to ensure that we diversify our energy sector in Nigeria, and so that's another area that the administration is putting down its landmark and its feet to ensure that we can make a difference. The reality is that there's been so many roads for many years, and I think the biggest win for us as the Nigerian people is that there's a lot of systemic changes and systemic thinking. Our foreign reserves is now over 40 billion, for example, from maybe about 1 billion or something like that US dollars, and you know that has an impact on our macroeconomics growth and development. And so when you look at all of these indices and indicators, you realize that the biggest win for us is not even what you are seeing now, but that we're putting Nigeria on the pedestal of progress, and we're beginning to have systemic changes, and the systems will not be able to grow. Let me give you an example. In the UK, you don't buy a house with just cash up front. You're able to purchase properties with a credit system.
Yeah.
So we're
Mortgages.
now establishing a credit system into Nigeria now. It's a beginning phase, and so it's starting with civil servants, and it will scale across into ordinary Nigerian people to be able to benefit from our credit system. So if you look at it across divide, and I think another area that is also very beneficial is that the president, through the removal of fuel subsidy, has been able to free up a lot of funding for subnationals, the state government and the local government.
Yeah.
And so if they're able to utilize those funding appropriately, and this is not about the president, it is conditional
about the
on
governors.
the governors and
Yes.
the local government.
Thank you so much,
If they're
Honorable.
able to utilize the additional funding in their communities,
Yeah.
they can build more roads, they can improve on the primary health care centers, they can
That
build
primary
more
health care,
primary schools
cost
so
of
that
my
the
aunt,
universal
I will
health
be
care
on
is
their
become
list.
So we should go and hold
and
our
all of that.
governors.
But
And
the
local
president has
government
already
chairman.
created an enabling
Yes.
system
Yeah.
for them to be able to generate more revenue.
Okay,
It will now be
Honorable.
a call on our governors, which we're also ensuring, and the president has
Yeah.
continued to say it again and again,
Okay.
that he must ensure that local government autonomy and that funding are going direct. I remember I was at a meeting with the president.
Thank you, Honorable. I want to get in a few more questions. We have a lot to go through with you today, but let's talk about the party's
I didn't hear that. Sorry.
internal disagreements. How is your party handling their internal disagreements, and what lessons did you learn from the last election that you would not like to repeat in this coming election?
I'm not hearing any of those.
Oh.
Sorry, the feedback.
Okay, can you hear me now? Honorable Dio, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Honorable? Are you still there?
Yes, it's season. It's coming and going, but I can hear.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so I'm saying, how is your party addressing their internal issues? And what are some of the lessons you learned from the last election you are not going to repeat in this coming elections?
What I heard is, how would my party do something issues?
Internal
Resolve
issues.
internal
Resolve their
issues.
internal issues. How are you
Internal
resolving your
disagreements.
internal issues? Yes.
So how would our party solve our internal issues? To the glory of God, right now, we have to a large extent, a peaceful party. We've been able to come together as a family to be able to reach consensus on a lot of issues, and the model works for us because we also have a leader that is a mediator, that is that carries the people along. We know we have a leader, National Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and so when there are issues and they are tipping point from one state to the other, is able to bring people together and ensure that it can be a win-win for everybody. And I think that's what leadership is about, to ensure that everybody leaves the table. There's no victor, no vanquish. So even in congresses and conventions, as where people are able to, we're able to balance a lot of interests, and that's why you didn't hear about a lot of conflict in our state congresses and all of that, because to a large extent, the national chairman too has been working tirelessly and to ensure that he's able to engage our governors, engage our stakeholders, and he's done a lot of work in that area, giving to President Tawe Yiwada in terms of carrying people along, carrying members and stakeholders of the party along. And so we don't see internal issues really skyrocketing and going out of it, because we are our members understand the values now, and the fact that Mr. President is there to be a mediator.
Okay.
Okay. What I would like to find out from you is, what are the lessons that your party has learned, from all that has been happening within the country pre the election, thereabout? Especially from the feedback from Nigerians. Did you hear me, sir?
I didn't hear the first part, my sister.
what lessons has your party learned? We would like to know the lessons the party has learned from past elections, off-season elections, going into this new election.
Fantastic. We've had a few of those off-season election, general election, and we have some couple of elections coming up this year. Ekiti is coming up this year, Osun election. And each election is a lesson for us. A lesson in terms of logistics, lesson in terms of mobilization and engaging the Nigerian people. Because after all is said and done, it's them that are going to vote for us at the poll. And I think the biggest lesson for us is that we must continue to do our best to fight for the Nigerian people. Because the voters are going to the poll to be able to vote for their own interests. And we know that if we don't make the Nigerian people happy, they will not make us happy. So the biggest lesson for us in those lessons is to ensure that we run a system that carries the people along, that provides value to the grassroots, and is impactful above board. And that's why you see a lot of our governors, in particular, even the ones that have joined us, a lot of them are initiating various projects, creating various interventions in their state, and innovating in different areas. You know, and there are many. You see what Onwa is doing in Imo State, His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodinma, and the various interventions that he's been inviting the president to come and commission. You see what the governor of Lagos, Olusola Sanwo-Olu, is doing with the green line, with the blue line, and the red line coming on board, and many bridges from Agege to Idimo. You know, many of our governors, Zulum, for example, doing a lot of stuff. So part of the lesson we have learned is that we must ensure that we're doing more for the Nigerian people, so that when we get to the poll and they see our logo, they'll put their thumbprint on the APC logo.
Okay, Honorable.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Honorable, we are preparing for elections, and some of us have, you know, some issues that we think that have not been addressed. The president promised us light, and there's not light. What will you say to Nigerians? And are you positive that your party will come tops on these elections?
So thank you very much. The Yoruba has a proverb. I'm sorry, I'm a Yoruba boy. I'm a city boy. So there's a proverb that says, "Amokun erewo," and it says, "Okelewu ewosale." Yeah, so there are times people look at the things at the surface, but they are fundamental issues. So the issue around power, for example, is not really about generation, it's about distribution and all of that. A lot of our equipment for distributions are out of date, they're out of stock, and the government and the president is doing a lot to ensure that many of those equipment are being replaced, you know, the national grid and all of that, to be able to distribute power effectively across Nigeria. And so those things also, to build those power systems and grid, takes a lot of time, you know, but the reality is that, you know, the process has already been there. Also, a lot of gencos are hold money and all of that, and you know, part of all of those things are what the minister Baya Adelabu has been, you know, trying to ensure that they're able to you know, get that space moving. It's a lot of work and they're part of the teaching process, but the reality is that it's not at a standstill. Things are moving, even though some at baby steps and all of that, but there are progresses that is being recorded in terms of setting up the systems and revamping our energy infrastructure. So we're very hopeful that Nigerians sees the effort of Mr. President, and they know that it's more about legacy. And you know, there are a lot of other good wins that we can talk about. Look at what's happening in terms of road infrastructure. Look at what's happening in terms of bridges. The other day I was in Lagos. You know, even though I talked a lot about the coastal road, but it's dawned on me the other day when I went to Lagos and I was going to see one of our GAC leader, Babolusi, in Songotedo, and I had to get on the coastal road, and in less than 5-10 minutes I was already in Songotedo, and I wondered how did it happen? I didn't even know. I think we're almost.
You didn't meet traffic that day.
They didn't come outside.
They didn't come out. Lagosians were sleeping that day. You were lucky. But let's get one more question.
I didn't see traffic on that day.
Yeah, you were lucky.
It was a day for it was your day. But let me ask you, because recently.
From a hotel junction.
Okay, let me ask you, Honorable Dayo Israel. Recently, we've been seeing a lot of conversions into the party, and people have been decamping and crossing over using paddles, canoe, just cross to the other side, and that's where life is. Are there any new strategies that the party is using to win more support?
Win more souls.
Are they bringing bread and you are giving them butter? Like this butter is, how are you doing it? And you're just making people, even small time now, all of us,
how are you able to win the souls over?
Win them? What's that toast?
Network.
In the toast period. Oh, we froze.
Don't tell me we froze.
Goodness me.
He froze.
That was a
we
good
froze.
question.
Yes, honestly, I would have loved to hear
Yeah.
what he had to say
That
on
butter
that.
must have salt.
We wish them the best. The convention has come and gone. Everybody's back to
Abuja is now calm.
politicking, campaigning, getting ready for 2027 elections. We wish them all the best. We just hope that they are able to, live up to the promises that they give to us. We hope that many of the industries, infrastructure that we're looking to get better would get better. Electricity is topmost on Nigerians' minds.
But sincerely, the roads, I think most of our local governments are now doing better. Because I can see from Agege, Ifakoja, a local government over that axis, they are fixing their roads.
Yes.
In Lagos,
yes,
they are fixing the roads.
So we don't really know about other
states. Hold them
states.
accountable.
So true.
And we are going to hold them
So
accountable.
true. Thank you so much, ladies. That's all we can take on the show today.